the last of her kind. The sun on Xarnas was never gentle. It burned like fire, even behind thick clouds of ash. The air was dry and full of poison. The ground cracked with heat. No creature survived long here except one. Her name was Zira. She walked alone, skin marked with scars, her eyes cold and alert. Her long silver hair was tied behind her head, and her black armor, made from the bones of hunted beasts, clung to her thin but strong body. Zira was the last of her people, or so she believed. Shira came from a race called Drakari, known in the galaxy as Deathworlders. Their planet was so dangerous that even machines refused to land here. Long ago, the Drakari had been strong, fierce, and feared by many. But they were wiped out in a war, betrayed, burned, killed. Now, only she remained. Shira hunted to survive. She drank water from poisoned roots and ate creatures that screamed when cooked. Her hands never trembled, and her heart never softened. Until that day, she had been tracking a strange sound. It came from the northern ridge, a place where black mountains touched the sky. The sound was not natural. It was too smooth, too regular. A hum, a pulse. Like a heart made of metal, Shira crept closer, jumping from rock to rock, using her claws to climb steep walls. When she reached the edge, her breath caught. There below her, a ship had crashed. It wasn't alien, it wasn't Drakari. It was strange, boxy, and burning from one side. The metal looked old and patched. Steam hissed from the broken engine. One side was torn open like a wound. She crouched and watched. Something moved. A hand, flesh, not metal, reached out from the wreck. It was not Drakari. Too smooth, too pink, too soft. A figure crawled out, gasping, coughing, then collapsed. Jira narrowed her eyes. What is that? She waited. A full hour passed. No movement. No trick. Finally, she climbed down carefully. Her feet made no sound. She crept closer, dagger in hand, her other claws ready. She stopped beside the body. It was a man, broad-shouldered, wounded but breathing. His face was bruised, his suit was torn, his blood was red, his eyes were closed. Then suddenly, they opened. Two brown eyes met her silver ones. Where am I? He whispered. Shira jumped back. She aimed her dagger at his throat. What are you? She asked in a harsh voice. The man smiled weakly. Not a ghost, that's for sure. He coughed and fell unconscious again. Shira stood still, frozen. Her mind raced. She had seen many creatures, fought monsters, killed machines, but never had she seen this type of being. He was not from this world. He was something new. Is he human? She whispered to herself. She had heard of them. Earthborn, rare, dangerous, survivors. But she thought they were only a myth, like the old Drakari tales. She knelt beside him and checked his chest. Still breathing. Part of her wanted to walk away, leave him to die. That was the rule on Xarnas. Weakness meant death, but something inside her, something she hadn't felt in years, burned again. A memory of another time, another life. Her sister lying broken, her hand reaching out. Zira had failed to save her. That memory haunted her even now. With a deep sigh, she looked down at the human. You're lucky, she muttered. I'm not the monster the galaxy thinks I am. She wrapped him in beast hide and dragged him through the wasteland, step by step, toward her hidden cave. Inside, the fire cracked softly. She crushed herbs and mixed healing paste. The human lay on the stone bed, sweating but stable. As Zira looked at his strange face, she felt her heart beat faster. For the first time in years, she wasn't alone. The creature called man. The firelight danced across the cave walls, casting flickers of red on stone and bone. Outside, acid winds howled, shaking the entrance cloth. Inside, silence ruled, except for the shallow breathing of the man. Shira sat in the shadows, eyes never blinking. She had seen strange beasts. She had faced poisoned storms. But this creature was something else. Not just flesh and blood. Not just skin and bone. He had smiled while half dead. Who smiles on a death world? She had cleaned his wounds, rubbed healing roots into his cuts. His body was tough, not soft like she thought. Muscles under skin. Scars under the suit. He had seen battles. Real ones. Suddenly the man groaned. His eyes fluttered open. "You again," he whispered. Shira didn't move. "You're lucky I didn't let the beasts eat you." He looked around slowly. "Nice place. Reminds me of Earth's deserts." "Earth," Shira said the word like a curse. "Is that your world?" He nodded weakly. "Yeah. Name's Jack. Jack Carter." Zira stood and stepped into the firelight. Her silver eyes glowed. "Jack Carter, what are you doing on Zarnus?" He tried to sit up. Pain hit him like a blade. He winced and collapsed again. "Crash," he said through his teeth. "Ship was attacked. Landed here. Hard." "You're lucky you landed near me," Zira muttered. "The desert doesn't forgive mistakes." Jack's eyes found hers again. "And who are you? The welcome committee?" She didn't answer right away. She stepped closer and pulled something from her belt. A long fang, black, curved, deadly. "This is from a sand beast I killed last week," she said flatly. "It ate 3 raiders before I cut it open." Jack blinked. "I like you already." He reached for water. She handed him the jug. As he drank, he studied her. "You're not like other aliens I've met." "Good," she snapped. "They're all dead." He paused. "So, you live here alone?" Zira looked away. "I'm the last Drakari." Jack's face changed. "Drakari? Wait, I've heard stories about you. Deathworlders, right?" She nodded slowly. "My people call your kind myths," he said, voice soft. "But you're real." Zira stared into the fire. "Too real. That's why we were hunted." He leaned his head back against the rock. "Funny thing." "What?" Jack grinned. "Earth is a death world, too." Zira's head snapped toward him. "Liar. No lie," he said. "Our air burns lungs. Our animals bite, sting, and crush. Our weather kills thousands. We fight just to live." "Sound familiar?" She didn't speak, but something shifted in her eyes. Jack chuckled. "We have a saying. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." "Zira," whispered, "Drakari say pain is the mother of power." They stared at each other. 2 souls shaped by fire. Then, boom! The ground shook. Shira grabbed her blade and ran to the cave's entrance. Jack forced himself to sit up. "What was that?" he groaned. Shira peeked outside. A small drone hovered in the dark sky. Flashing. Red lights. Scanning. Her voice was low and sharp. "They found you." "Who?" "Bounty hunters," she hissed. "They smell blood and tech." Jack clenched his jaw. "Great, not even healed and already being hunted." Zira turned. "They're not hunting you." Jack frowned. "Then who?" Her voice was ice. "Me." Jack stared. "Why?" "Because I survived." She grabbed her weapons, clawed gloves, acid darts, bone daggers. Her movements were fast and practiced. Jack tried to stand. "I'm coming." "You can't even walk," she barked. "Still faster than some bounty scum," he shot back. Shira paused. She saw something in his eyes, something she hadn't seen in a long time. Fire. She tossed him a short spear. "Try not to die," she muttered. "No promises." He grinned. They stepped out into the storm. A Deathworlder girl and a half-dead human, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Deathworlder blood. The sandstorm howled like a hungry beast. Ash and dust flew in the wind, cutting across their faces like knives. Sira moved fast, sharp, silent, deadly. Jack limped behind her, spear in one hand, jaw tight with pain. They had killed the drone, but it was too late. The signal had already been sent. "They're coming," Sira said coldly, climbing over a stone ridge. "How many?" Jack asked, coughing into his sleeve. "If it's bounty hunters," she said. "Too many." They stopped on a cliff overlooking the dead plains. Below, broken machines and ancient bones littered the ground. Somewhere out there, the enemy approached. Jack sat on a rock, exhausted. "Tell me something, Sira." "What? You really believe I'm like you?" She didn't answer at first. Then she looked at him. "When you took that spear and stood next to me, I saw something. Not just courage, not just anger. I saw blood like mine." He raised an eyebrow. "That's a compliment, right?" Sira gave a rare, small smile. "Yes." Suddenly, a noise behind them. Crunch, crunch. Sira pulled out her bone daggers. "Stay low," she whispered. From the shadows emerged a giant hound-like beast. Gray, armored, with red glowing eyes. A mutated predator of Xarnus. Jack froze. "That doesn't look friendly." "It's not." The beast growled and charged. Sira leaped onto its back, stabbing deep into its neck. The creature roared and bucked, but she held tight like a wild flame. Jack threw his spear, hitting its leg. It screamed. Finally, with one last cut, Sira slashed its throat. Blood sprayed across the stones. She stood over the corpse, panting, her eyes wild. Jack walked over slowly, limping. "You okay?" She turned to him. "That was a baby." Jack blinked. "What?" She nodded toward the horizon. "Its mother will come now." Before he could speak, the ground shook again. Boom. Boom. A larger shadow moved in the distance. Jack's hand tightened around a rock. "Got a plan?" he asked. Sira knelt and smeared the baby beast's blood on his arms. Then she did the same on herself. "This will mask our scent." For a little while. He stared at the thick blood. "You Deathworlders sure know how to party." They crawled into a nearby wrecked shuttle. It was rusted, half buried in sand, but still gave cover. Inside, Jack found an old metal box and broke it open. Inside were small explosives, still intact. "Look what I found." Sira's eyes lit up. "Now we hunt." They set traps around the wreck, pressure bombs, sharpened spikes, and buried blades. By nightfall, the mother beast arrived. She was massive, taller than both of them, covered in scars. Her growl made the ground tremble. Sira whispered, "Now." The beast stepped on a pressure plate. Boom! Flames burst upward. It roared in pain and rage. Jack threw a spike into its eye. Sira leapt from above and stabbed its back. The fight was fast, brutal, and wild. When it was over, both of them were bleeding. Sira leaned against a rock. "You fought like a Drakari." Jack sat beside her, breathing hard. "You fight like a soldier." They shared a moment of silence. Then Jack spoke. Softer. "You know, Earth isn't just a death world. We were left behind. Others called us savages, but we kept fighting." Sira looked at him, surprised. "Like the Drakari." He nodded. "Maybe we're not that different." She thought for a long second, then whispered, "Maybe you're not the only Deathworlder anymore." A long, silent pause passed between them. Then Sira stood. "Come. The real hunters haven't arrived yet." Jack picked up a broken blaster. "Good. Let them come." As the stars blinked above the poisoned skies, two warriors walked into the darkness, not prey, not fugitives, but predators. The hunt begins. The night was too quiet. No wind, no storms, no beasts. That meant only one thing. Something worse was coming. Sira crouched on the edge of a cliff, staring down into the open valley. Beside her, Jack adjusted a worn power cell into the old blaster he had found in the wreck. Both of them were tired, bleeding, and covered in dried blood, but neither was afraid. Fear had no place among Deathworlders. "They'll arrive by morning," Zira said, her voice cold and sharp. Jack looked up. Bounty hunters? No, she whispered. Worse. Collectors. Jack's face hardened. What the hell are collectors? She turned to him. Mercenaries who hunt rare species. They sell them, dead or alive. Usually dead. Jack's grip on the blaster tightened. Let them come, I've got a message for them. Zira stood. Her eyes scanned the sky. Lights. Small, fast ships descending. They already heard you, she muttered. And now they want your head next, to mine. By the time the collectors landed, the trap field was ready. Jack had planted old mines near the rocks. Zira had laced the sand with venom spores that burned skin and blinded eyes. They used the corpse of the mother beast as bait, leaving it in the open to draw attention. And still Zira didn't smile. These are not easy prey, she said. Jack loaded the blaster. Neither are we. When the first collector team arrived, 6 armored aliens with plasma rifles, they didn't notice the small blinking device under the beast's body. Jack whispered, Now. Boom! Fire and sand exploded. 2 hunters flew, through the air screaming. The rest charged blindly. Shira was already moving. She leapt from the cliff, slicing through the air with both daggers, landing hard on one of them. She stabbed his neck and rolled into the sand. Jack fired 3 perfect shots. One alien dropped instantly, another aimed at him, too slow. Crack! A stone from Zira's slingshot shattered his visor. The 5th ran toward Jack with a blade, but Jack picked up a burning piece of metal and slammed it into the alien's chest. The scream echoed. The last one tried to flee. Zira didn't let him. She dragged him to the rocks. Who sent you? The alien trembled. High bidders, from the black market. They say you two are Deathworlders, worth more than gold. Jack crouched beside him. Tell them the price just went up. Zira slit the alien's throat without a word. That night they moved again, deeper into the canyon where the stars were hidden and monsters didn't roam. Zira found an old Drakari shelter hidden beneath rock layers. It still worked, barely. Inside, flickering lights revealed ancient signs of her people. Weapons, armor, cracked skulls. Her heart hurt, but her hands stayed steady. Jack walked slowly, limping. This place, it feels like a graveyard. Zira touched a wall marked with blood symbols. It is. He turned to her. You don't have to do this alone anymore. She looked at him. And what makes you think I want help? Jack smiled. Because I know that look in your eyes. What look? The same one I saw in the mirror, after I lost my team on Earth's moon. Rage, regret, revenge. Zira's lip twitched. You're not bad for a soft-skinned human. And you're not bad for a ghost story alien. They both laughed. Quiet, tired, real. But their moment didn't last. A loud ping echoed from the shelter's console. A signal. Zira's eyes narrowed. They found us. Jack read the screen. Big ship, bigger guns, landing close. She grabbed her gear. Then we move fast, or we die. Jack stopped her. No, he said. We fight, we don't run anymore. Zira stared at him. Are you ready for war, Earthman? Jack's voice was calm. I was born in it. Outside, another wave of ships approached, but this time the galaxy wasn't chasing 2 victims. It was heading straight toward 2 predators, 2 Deathworlders, who were ready to bite back. Fire and fury. The sky turned red, not from sunset, but from flames. Dozens of ships roared above the broken land, casting giant shadows on the stone cliffs. Their engines howled like demons, and their lights painted the ground with blood-red beams. Inside, the old Drakari shelter, Zira finished sharpening her blades. Her hands were calm, her eyes ice cold. Across the room, Jack tightened the belt on an old chest plate. It didn't fit perfectly, but it would do. He'd taken it off a Drakari skeleton and cleaned off the dust. Never wore alien armor before, he muttered. Shira glanced at him. Looks better on you than the last one. Jack gave a dry grin. He didn't seem to mind. Outside, the earth trembled. A collector dropship slammed into the canyon floor, kicking up dust and smoke. Dozens of soldiers stormed out, armored, armed, and angry. Sierra watched through a cracked lens. They're too many. Jack loaded a blaster. Then we take them one wave at a time. She looked at him. You sure you're ready for this? I'm a human, Jack said with a smirk. We were born in hard mode. The first wave charged. Jack took the high ground, an old turret nest left by the Drakari centuries ago. He fired from above, picking off the front soldiers with precision. Each shot landed hard. Each blast echoed through the stone. Below, Zira ran like lightning, her blades flashing in and out of view. She sliced through metal armor like it was cloth. The soldiers screamed, but she didn't stop. Jack tossed her a smoke bomb. She caught it midair and vanished into a gray cloud. A second later, more screams. Then silence. But the collectors didn't. Stop! A hover tank dropped in next, bigger, deadlier. It opened fire. The shelter exploded behind them in a blast of fire and stone. Jack flew backward. His armor took the hit. Barely. Shira pulled him out of the rubble. Still breathing? Barely. He coughed. You? She helped him up. I've survived. Worse. They ran through the broken canyon, dodging blasts and diving behind old metal wrecks. We need something big, Jack shouted. That tank will tear us apart. Zira's eyes narrowed. There is one thing. She led him to a hidden pit, buried beneath the bones of an old Drakari warbeast. Inside, locked under stone and vines, was a weapon she hadn't touched in years. She whispered, "The Soulbreaker." Jack raised an eyebrow. That sounds friendly. It's not. They pulled it free. A massive cannon made of dark steel, humming with ancient energy. Jack had never seen anything like it. Can you fire it? He asked. Shira stared at the glowing runes. It only fires for Deathworlders. Jack stepped forward. The weapon pulsed. The ground trembled. Shira gasped. It accepted you. Jack looked at her. Told you. Earth's not so soft. Together they aimed the Soulbreaker at the tank. Its core lit up. Power roared through the air like a storm. Boom! The blast turned night into day. The tank exploded into burning pieces. The shockwave knocked back half the enemy forces. Silence returned. Shira stood still, staring at the smoke. Jack breathed hard. So, that was fun. She looked at him, eyes wide. You are more than human. Jack grinned. Don't tell my... But the moment faded fast. A message flashed on a stolen helmet nearby. Priority bounty upgrade. Capture both alive. Deathworlder pair worth 10 million credits. Sierra frowned. They won't stop. Jack looked toward the stars. Then neither will we. That night, as the fires burned behind them, Sierra and Jack made a choice. They would stop running. They would stop hiding. From now on, they were hunting back, together. The truth buried in blood. Smoke rose behind them, curling into the dark sky like warning signs to the stars. Jack and Zira stood on a ridge, staring at the battlefield they had just left behind. Burning ships, scorched stone, and silence where once there was screaming. But even victory felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. Shira's hand clutched the old bounty helmet. The message on it echoed in her mind. Deathworlder pair, 10 million credits, alive, not just her. Both of them. She turned to Jack, eyes sharp. Why do they want you alive? Jack didn't answer at first. He was staring into the distance, his jaw tight. Jack, she said again. I don't know, he replied, but not with confidence. Shira stepped closer. You're hiding something. He looked away. No, I just don't remember everything. She stared harder. That's not good enough. Later that night, they found shelter in an abandoned space pod half buried in sand. Inside, Jack sat with his back against a wall, rubbing his face. I didn't grow up like others. He finally said. Shira raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I was born in a human colony, he continued, but not a normal one. It was isolated, underground, controlled. By who? By Earth's Black Ops, a secret military program. Shira's heart skipped. They trained us young. Taught us how to survive extreme pain, how to fight, how to kill. They called it Project Ironborn. She stepped back, shocked. I've heard of that. Even in alien space, we heard whispers. Earth tried to create perfect survivors, perfect monsters. Jack nodded. I was one of them. He looked at his hands as if remembering things that still burned under his skin. They injected us with modified blood. Alien DNA, mixed with old Drakari samples they collected during the war. Zira's breath caught. They used my people's blood to create humans like you? Jack looked up at her. Maybe that's why the Soulbreaker responded to me. Maybe I'm part Drakari now. Silence filled the pod. Shira turned away. Her fists clenched. For years, she whispered, I thought my people were erased, but we were being used. She touched the old Drakari marks on her arm. Your kind took our pain and made weapons out of it. Jack stood slowly. I didn't choose this. I know, she said after a pause, but that doesn't make it easier. Outside, another signal pulsed through the air, not from bounty hunters, but from deep space, an Empire beacon. Jack and Zira climbed the rocks and found a wrecked probe stuck between jagged spikes. Its message repeated, DR1001, reporting, hybrid. Deathworlder located, Earth genetic weapon confirmed. Targets Zira 7 and Jack Ironborn. Zira's voice turned cold. They're not just hunting Deathworlders. They're hunting experiments, Jack finished. He looked up at the stars. I'm not the first, but I might be the last. Zira said nothing for a while. Then slowly, she pulled a blade and sliced her palm. Thick blue blood dripped down. She handed the blade to Jack. He understood. He sliced his palm too. Red blood mixed with blue. She pressed her hand to his. Whatever you are, she said softly. You're not alone anymore. Jack's voice was low. Neither are you. Above them, the Empire probe exploded, triggered by Zira's signal spike. It lit the sky one last time before fading. They stood together, one girl born of pain, one man built for war, and the galaxy had no idea what it had created. The rise of two Deathworlders. The Empire didn't wait. 3 warships appeared above Zarnus at dawn, black as shadow, loud as thunder. Their engines cracked the sky. Their soldiers poured out like metal rain, spreading across the wastelands with orders. Capture the Deathworlders. Do not fail. But Zira and Jack were already gone. Not running. Hunting. Deep beneath the ground, inside the bones of an ancient Drakari fortress, Zira stood before a wall of glowing symbols. Each one told a story. Of her people, of their extinction, and of their final weapon. Jack read them slowly. This place. It's not a tomb. It's a trigger. Zira nodded. This is where my ancestors made their last stand, and left behind a gift. For the next Deathworlders. A hidden chamber. Opened. Inside stood a warsuit, tall, spiked, glowing faint blue, not just armor. A living machine, bonded only to the blood of Zarnus. Beside it, a human-sized variant, sleeker, faster. Jack stepped toward it. The suit pulsed. Shira smiled. It accepts you, Jack whispered. Time to show them what their weapon can really do. Above ground, the Empire squad searched the rocks. Drones scanned every heat signature. Commanders barked orders. Find them now. Too late. The mountain exploded. Zira and Jack burst through the fire, clad in war armor glowing like gods. Their footsteps cracked the stone, their voices echoed. You hunted us, Jack said. Now we hunt you. Zira raised her blades. Deathworlders do not bow. They struck fast. Zira leapt into the air, crashing down on a squad, slicing through. Armor like paper. Her warsuit amplified her speed and strength, turning her into a blur of destruction. Jack moved like lightning, dodging blasts, breaking bones, firing with perfect aim. His armor adapted to each threat, scanning weaknesses and feeding him battle instincts. The Empire's troops fell back, but it was no use. 2 Deathworlders, 1 goal, end this. Inside the command ship, General Veth watched in panic. They were not supposed to survive. A soldier replied, shaking. "Sir, they're not just surviving, they're winning," Veth growled. "Then bring out the Black Fang." The ship's belly opened. A giant war machine dropped to the ground. Black steel, red eyes, tall as a building. It roared and charged toward them. Jack looked at Zira. "You take the left leg. I'll blind it." She nodded. "Break it down." The fight shook the land. Shira dashed under the beast, slashing cables and joints. Sparks flew. The machine staggered. Jack climbed up its back, driving his blade into its eye. The beast screamed and collapsed, just as Zira jumped clear. One final explosion sent metal flying. Silence followed. Then, Jack stood over the wreckage. "That was the Black Fang?" Zira chuckled. "Looked more like a lost puppy. The Empire's last ship tried to flee, but Jack raised his arm, and a stolen turret locked on. Boom! Fire lit the sky. The Deathworlders stood alone on the battlefield, surrounded by ash, smoke, and silence. This time, no one came to chase them. No one dared. Later, as they stood by the cliff's edge, looking at the stars, Jack asked, "What now?" Zira's silver eyes shimmered. "The galaxy still thinks we're monsters." Jack smiled. "Then let's show them what real monsters look like." She turned to him. "You and me?" He nodded. "Always." They walked into the shadows. Together, 2 warriors born of death, pain, and fire. The last Deathworlders and the first of something new.